Dave Ramsey is a legend, a Hall of Fame broadcaster and host of the second largest radio show in the world. He's very successful. But what makes him successful? I would tell you, it's his uniqueness. He knows exactly who he is, what he wants to do, and why he wants to do it. Combine that with our very popular Get Clear assessment, a tool that has helped tens of thousands of people get clear on how they are uniquely wired and what they want to do in the form of measuring what they do best, what they love to do most, and the results that motivate them. All those results come together in a purpose statement. So I asked Dave if he would take the assessment and then allow me to talk to him about his results, and now looking back on his wild success, how that informed the purposeful path that he has been on. You're going to love this conversation. Here is Dave Ramsey. All right, Dave, so this is fun. We're going to break down the top 3 talents for you. And I remember when I first got your results, I just laughed in a knowing way. It was like top talent number 1. If I was going to guess, I would have said persuasion. Skilled at influencing people to change their beliefs or take specific action. So when you think about persuasion as one of your top talents, is that something that was easy for you early on? Did it just come naturally to you being in a home of salespeople? When did you realize this persuasion, I can change people's thoughts and actions?
Yeah, I mean, mom and dad were in the real estate business, and so 12 years old, I'm in a sales conference, with Zig Ziglar up there teaching you how to do closes.
Yeah.
And I remember thinking, you mean you can actually use your sentence structure and your verbs to influence the way people make a decision? Oh my gosh, I like this.
Yeah, right.
So I guess I'm a manipulator, but no, I'm kidding.
No.
But no, I mean persuasion. And today, I make no distinction at all between that and what we're doing today is for your own good, selling you a new way of living, a new way of thinking, a new idea. Selling you on, here's an idea. Let's use a debit card instead of a credit card. That's a sale. It's the same place in your mind that if I'm selling you a computer and I'm a computer salesman, or if I'm selling you a medical device and I'm a medical device salesman, or whatever. So persuasion is persuasion, but, counselors are persuasion because you have to persuade someone into how they treat their spouse. Pastors are persuasion.
Yeah.
They're salespeople. Salespeople like to talk about everybody is in sales, but some more than others for sure. But yeah, it is a thing I grew up in, and I've always been intrigued with it. And I just love the subject.
Yeah. I mean, and you're very good at it. And it's interesting, folks, if you look at Dave's top 3, 2 is instruction and then communication. So persuasion, instruction, and communication. And what's really fun about that is I see that in 2 unique ways. Obviously, as the author, the speaker, the host of a show that's helped millions of people, but also as a leader, as a CEO. The ability to go, all right, I've got to persuade a large team of people that this is why we do what we do. And this is why we're going to continue to do it that way. And then to teach and to show us.
We're going this way. You got to cast a vision.
That's right.
Bosses push, leaders pull.
Yeah.
And so if you're going to pull, you have to use persuasion, instruction, communication.
That's right.
You have to go, well, this is the way we're going. Here's why it's going to be good for everyone. We're going over here to the land of milk and honey. You're going to love it. It's going to be so good when we get there. And, in a humorous way, almost Trump's thing on Make America Great Again. It's going to be great. It's going to be, all the mocking and making fun of him. But what he was doing was casting a vision of a better place, a better time.
Yeah.
Whether you agree with him or like him, that's not relevant. But you can study the speech pattern even there. Yeah. And that's what we would call in church a leader that cast a vision. Where there is no vision, the people perish.
One of the things I wanted to ask you as I looked at your top 3 talents is you're a really good communicator and you've practiced it. You've studied it. I mean, you've worked at your craft and you're really good at it. How much does the talent of instruction lead into being a world-class public communicator?
Well, I think in the world that we're in the world of self-improvement. You're trying to help people move along the spectrum on their career. and go to a place they've never gone before. I'm trying to help them in the world of leadership or in the world of finance, or Dr. John Deloney's trying to help them move along past their anxiety or how to deal with their anxiety when their anxiety alarms go off. See, he's got us all saying it now.
Yeah.
But see, all of that in our world, and we tell the Ramsey personalities, you've heard me tell all you guys this 100 times, is instruction, just handing off information without aspiration, without lift, is it's boring as crud. Nobody wants to do it. And aspiration or motivational talks that don't have any meat in them, don't take us anywhere, don't give us some clear steps, some clearly defined goals, some action to take as a result of this. Okay, it's great. We can talk about, becoming wealthy, but when you actually place scissors across a credit card and start cutting it, it changes the equation. So instruction and communication for me are like, you've got to have the aspirational, that's the communication part, the lifting part, to go with the actual information. Transfer of information, you can all you got to do is Google something. You can get information, but that doesn't change people's lives. What changes people's lives is when you mix it with aspiration. An aspiration that doesn't have instructional elements to it is of no value. It's just fluff.
Yeah. All right. So now we get into passion. So persuasion, instruction, and communication. And the work that really fires Dave Ramsey up is leading, promoting, and performing. When you look at this combination, how does the persuasion, instruction, and communication come into the performing and driving results?
Well, if you try to do instruction without the communication piece, without the aspiration piece, it doesn't work. People don't move, they don't change, and so that's the performing part.
Yeah,
I've got to see the result. We all should look for the result.
That's right.
You often hear me as when I'm in my leadership mode on stage here, talking to 1,000, 1,100 team members. When we've got revenue going down in an area, that's the marketplace saying you suck. Mm-hmm. We're having a conversation with the market. And that's human beings out there going, you're not filling my needs, you're not helping me, and so it goes down, Or when the opposite is true. When you're winning, you see, and so that's why we watch financials here, not because we're greedy or we're money driven. We're really not very money driven, oddly enough, but it's the scoreboard that tells the performance. Because it's like Ken Blanchard says, profit is the applause your customers give you. So I love looking at accounting metrics, rating metrics on the podcasts. I'm enamored by the stuff on YouTube and those things that come through here. I'm not very knowledgeable about the details of the newer formats, but I love getting the information and seeing, okay, here's where we were, here's where we are, here's where we were 2 months ago, here's where we are today with the Ken Coleman Show. Oh my God, look at what Coleman's doing here. And that's a performance. That means we're helping people.
That's right.
It's not merely to win the game.
That's right.
We're not that shallow. It really does have this promotional element, but the promotion is for the good of the person on the other end of the message.
I love that. All right, so when we look at the role of leading, you're CEO of this organization, not just a personality and an author and a host. You lead the organization. When it comes to leadership, do you find yourself disciplining yourself to make sure, hey, I want to make sure that I stay in areas of talent as a leader, or else I'm going to start to feel that rub. Number one, I'm not as good as another leader in the organization at doing things that we need. And then number two, just the enjoyment factor. I've heard you tell us many times about what you work on here as a leader, and I think that speaks to what you're talented at.
Yeah, I figured out from a leadership perspective years ago, the first thing I learned to delegate was just stuff I didn't like doing.
Right. That's right. No passion at all.
I just don't want to do it. I just hate it. And so I get somebody cut my grass. I hate cutting grass. I cut enough grass by the time I was 18. I used to mow yards for a living, and cut enough grass by the time I was 18. God said I don't have to do it anymore. So I delegate that, right? I don't want to. I love reading the metrics and the accounting results. Doing the accounting?
Yeah.
Oh, just shoot me. Just shoot. No, thank you. So
right.
I immediately, one of the first people I hired started doing books, keeping bookkeeper. It was like the third hire we ever did. Mm-hmm. The second thing I started delegating was the thing that I do well, but just didn't have enough time to do it all. Logistically, I just couldn't do it. So we hired I was doing counseling. I was doing financial counseling. So the very first hire was Russ Carroll, and he started doing counseling because I was overloaded, and we had people standing in line 6 weeks to get some help, and that was unacceptable. Yeah. And I logistically could not get to them. And so that was the second thing. Then the third one is the best one, the most sophisticated one, and that is something I simply don't know how to do and don't know anything about. I don't know how to develop a website.
Right.
I don't know how to run the architecture on the platforms. I don't know how to have proper cybersecurity here. But I've got 400 people in the building that do.
That's right.
And I do go into those meetings and sit and listen sometimes, and generally I think they might as well be speaking French.
Right,
I
exactly.
really do not know what the flip they're talking about. And I just have to laugh, and I go, yeah, well, hey guys, would y'all give me just and they all laugh at me. We all cut up and have a good time. That's funny, Dave. Sure. You don't know bones about it. But give me just a second on what we're really talking about in here so I know. And then I'll get up and leave your meeting and you can have it. But, there's a lot of payroll in here and I'm paying a lot. So I'd like to know what y'all are saying. Yeah. And they have to drop out of the acronyms because digital people have more acronyms than the military does.
Right. Okay. Now let's go to one of my favorite parts of the assessment. This is really the third element when we talk about what results motivate us. Your top missional result, and I want to go over your top 2 or 3 here, actually, because you had 4 of the 6 missional results. 4 were above average. Influence was number 1, achievement 2, creation 3, efficiency 4. So what that means for people who are new to this concept is these are the results that motivate Dave Ramsey. He gets fired up when you're delivering these results, and that's what you're focused on. So influence, obviously that is a big people quotient. And so I'm just curious, where does that come from in your background and your life story to where you go, I care deeply about influencing people?
But my theory is that my use of that need today is way different than it was initially. Like, if you took a 22-year-old Dave, my need for influence then was deep insecurity. Like I desperately wanted to be somebody. I desperately wanted to be noticed. I desperately wanted to be important. Today, I'm on the other end of that spectrum. I desperately don't give a rip.
Right. That's
and
right.
But I do see the value of influence. Our friend John Maxwell says leadership is influence. So I see the value in creating what we talked about a minute ago, the performance. Creating the results. Influence is valuable to do that. And so, having money, which we do, having power, which we do, having some level of celebrity, which we do, is of no value unless it's used to move something. In our case, hopefully positive something, right? We're trying to move something good. And it's not for our own, at 62 years old, surely to God, I don't need to be sitting here trying to personally get affirmation. Good Lord. I mean, what lacking in, what got broken that I didn't mature, So I really don't need personally the affirmation. But what does still rings my bell is if we can use all of those resources that God has given us, those blessings, to help that single mom to change her life, or to help that marriage stay together, or to, I get to meet a 34-year-old who just became a Baby Steps millionaire, I don't personally get anything money-wise from that, and no one's going to give me a little statue of an award for any of those things, and that's really okay, because I already got my reward when they did the thing.
Yeah.
That's the influence. Does that make sense?
100%, because the idea here is that at some point long ago, you didn't have to show up for your provision. I mean, you've made a lot of money and made a lot of impact, obviously, but you keep showing up, and it just speaks to who you are. I think.
So what is the need?
That's it.
That keeps me showing up. The need really is, if you want to go Ayn Rand on it, right?
That's right.
Is the need to influence. I still get the high
you do
from moving the needle with that person.
You like seeing somebody grab something. Get it? The light bulb, whatever analogy you want to use. And I think that speaks to who you are. And just a fun question, because we've kind of broken down your results. If you weren't you in this current context of Dave Ramsey, and you weren't able to do this, and I know you got a great life, so why would you want to be anybody other than you? But if you were going to take these results, and so if you look at the top talents, right? So persuasion, instruction, and communication, the passions of leading, promoting, and performing to produce influence. What's another role that you think, you know what, I would be my heart would be happy because I would be on purpose doing this kind of work, using the talent, the passion, and the sense of mission that God gave you.
See, I could see me being the retired guy that teaches a college class. I would definitely do that.
Or would you just be a great leader and a businessman?
Mentoring business leaders. That would be, just as one-offs. Yeah. But I don't even have that much patience because a coaching thing like that is a long form.
Yes.
Thing where you meet, like, I have these guys come over the years as like, would you be my mentor? No.
Right.
No, because I'm not going to meet with you every week and go through every little nuance of your underwear drawer.
Right.
To help you figure this out. I'll give you some principles and encourage you and cheer when you hit some of those things. But this idea that I'm going to be the guy that walks with you and holds your hands through this, I'm not that guy.
No.
I wouldn't be good at it because I don't have any patience for it.
Well, I think it's just about scale and efficiency for you.
That may be it. It may be just lack of patience with that individual. I don't know. I'm just like...
Yeah, but you would have to be in a role where you knew that you had the direct impact on people's lives, change, whether it be in leadership, whether it be in their finances.
Yeah, if we're going to teach them to ski, they need to get up.
Well, that's the whole
ride behind the boat.
Why are we
doing it? You need to ride behind the boat.
Right.
I mean, and then you need to go across the wake, and then you need to drop a ski, and then we need to see progression, and you need to be doing
There
it
thing. Is. I love it.
I don't want to have psychological nuanced discussions about every little thing. Let's do the thing. Yeah. That's the performance, I guess. I guess that falls into this.
It
stuff.
does, yeah.
But, yeah.
Well, it came out of your...
The assessment worked. I mean, it was so cool when I read it. I was like, dadgum, man, Coleman and the team, y'all built a thing that worked. It worked, man. It nailed me.
Yeah, there's your purpose statement right there. Dave Ramsey, created to use his talents of persuasion, instruction, and communication to perform his passions of leading, promoting, and performing to accomplish his mission of influence by producing change and progress. And I think that absolutely is you. And it's a fun little exercise. Well, he is Dave Ramsey, and this is just a deep dive into his Get Clear assessment results. Dave, thanks for doing this.
Honored. Thanks.
Well, I hope you enjoyed the conversation. And if you would like to get this really valuable tool, the Get Clear Career Assessment, you can get it at kencoleman.com, right there in the store. You're just a few minutes away from clarity and confidence to be who you were created to be.